Then let's write the statements for these. The product of two negative integers is positive. How do we write this down? Think about it, spend 10 seconds, or maybe 30. So when I was learning counting, discrete math in combinatorics, I learned it from some guy called Jeff Kahn. He's a professor at Rutgers. He used to ask these questions, never use the slides, but he used to ask questions, writing them on the board. And then he would say, okay, you have 30 seconds to answer this question. But his clock was 3 times faster than our clocks, okay? After 10 seconds, he would be, your time is done. Let's move on, okay? So, your time is done. Aapka time mein story mein kha gaya hu. Alright, so how do you write? The product of two negative integers is positive.
For all q of x is positive. Let's say q of x is the multiplication of negative integers.
Don't use English, use the logic, okay? So, try again.
For all.
I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Think about it, and then it's a bit tricky, okay? Yeah, it's not simplest of the. I'm pretty sure whatever you're going to say is wrong, but that could be a stepping stone जिसके ऊपर हम correct statement build करेंगे, okay? You had something, yeah.
For all negative x square greater than 0.
Okay, let me try to write down what you're saying, okay? So you're saying for all x, for all, उसके बाद क्या आएगा?
Negative x square.
Now यहाँ पे variable आएगा, okay? What's the variable?
X.
Okay, for all x.
Negative x.
यहाँ पे किया ना, उसके बाद फिर आपको यहाँ पे domain define करनी है, okay? X is.
0 लिख सकते हैं.
Yeah, sure. वो हम लिखते हैं. यहाँ पे पहले मुझे domain बताओ. X की domain क्या है?
Less than 0.
So x की domain is negative numbers.
0 to negative.
Is it talking about integers? So negative integers. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
X is negative integers. Another way to write this thing is
Square bracket.
W negative, I guess. I don't know. Z, I guess. Z negative. Okay. All right. For all x, what do you want to say now?
Negative x square.
So x is already a negative integer. हमने ये define किया ना, यहाँ पे x is a negative integer.
X into x.
X into x, okay,
Greater than 0.
is greater than 0. Yeah, I guess you're right. For all x, x into x is greater than 0. So did I say positive? Yeah, I said positive. So this is again wrong, but it's on the where we want to be. Okay, there is something wrong here. I want someone to figure out what's wrong here. Yeah. For all x and y. Okay, good. So the thing is, यहाँ पे आप you are just squaring things. You're not multiplying things, right? Because x times x is just square. Okay. Or over here you are saying that square of every negative number is a positive number.
Y भी लेना है.
So I'll have to do for all x and y, where the domain of y is the same as domain of x. Okay. What next? Yeah. That's helpful. X into y is greater than 0. Okay. So that's the statement that I was looking for. Good. Nice. Just want to make sure that there is no. Yeah. That's the answer. Okay. So you see, this is a bit tricky. It's not obvious. Okay. At times to figure out how to write the same. It's an obvious statement, but to write it down without any ambiguity in a logical formula, it takes some practice. Okay. How about the next one? The difference of two negative integers is not necessarily negative. That's an interesting one. Who has an answer? I don't. Let me figure it out myself too. The difference of two negative integers is not necessarily negative. Yeah.
There exists x and y.
Okay, there exist x and y.
For which x minus y is greater than 0.
X minus y is greater than 0. Is क्या? Hold on a second, let me just write it down. उसके बाद हम देखते हैं. और x और y की डोमेन आप कह देंगे ये है ना? The differences to negative integers is not necessarily negative. क्या? Okay, cool. So or okay. So अच्छा, जब भी आप चीज़ें क्वांटिफाई करें तो parenthesize the part of the statement where the quantization applies. Okay, so if I'm not saying that this is correct or wrong, but just giving you the syntax of it. Okay, if I were to, for example, do this, तो फिर this would not be a proposition. Okay, this would not be a proposition because x and y is only applied to this part. It's not applied to this part. Okay, by default, अगर मैं, where is the eraser? By default, if I remove the parenthesis, x y only applies to the first part. Okay, this is equivalent to जो भी मैंने parenthesis लगाए थे. Okay, to make it apply to the whole statement, you need to do this. Okay, so now this statement is saying that there exists some x, और उसके बाद यहाँ पे it's better to quantify every variable separately. Okay, there exists x and there exists y such that x minus y is greater than 0 or x minus y is less than 0. Okay, but this is not what this statement is saying, isn't it, right? So you want to just put a greater than or equal to here? Okay, I don't think that's correct so far.
It can also be y minus x because it is defining difference of two integers x minus y and y minus x.
Okay. Okay. So the thing is, x and y are variables. Okay, which means कि x भी कोई वैल्यू पिक कर सकता है, y भी कोई वैल्यू पिक कर सकता है. x अगर मैंने फिक्स कर दिया होता ना कि -2 है, y is -3, then I would have to repeat this for x is equal x minus y और फिर y minus x, because these are two different things, right? But if they are variables, then in this case I would say कि यहाँ पे x is -2 and y is -3, and then I could say in the same instance x could be -3 and y could be -2. Okay, so मुझे y x करने की ज़रूरत तो नहीं है, so I'm fine with that. So let's read what this thing is saying. Okay, what this thing is saying. This thing is saying कि कोई x है, there is some x and there is some y for which this statement is true. Okay, but that's not what we are saying. Our statement is more generic, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so she's suggesting that we remove everything here and we write x minus y is less than 0. Is this what you're suggesting? Alright, I think I'm gonna, this is not a very great example to teach you what I'm trying to teach you. The answer for this is there are multiple ways to write it down, but over here if I write for all x, for all y, their difference is either greater than or equal to 0 or less than or equal to 0 will suffice to quantify what I'm saying here. Okay, so this statement is saying okay, there is a possibility that the difference of two negative integers is positive, and it's saying that there is a possibility that their difference is negative. That's what this statement is saying. Okay, and that's what this would be if I change this with universal quantifier. Okay, but there might be multiple ways, so I am not sure कि slides के ऊपर क्या लिखा हुआ है. So what do I say? Okay, this is wrong. ये slides के ऊपर गलत लिखा हुआ है. Okay, this is not what it is supposed to be. Okay, so think this is the answer. Okay, for all x and for all y, their difference is either positive or their difference is negative or it's zero. Okay, this is not correct. यहाँ पे अगर क्या
जब देयर एग्जिस्ट आई है तो हम 4 तो नहीं, मतलब यही है कि अगर हमने स्मॉलर देन दिया है तो ग्रेटर देन भी एग्जिस्ट करता है.
So this statement is a bit ambiguous. That's the reason we have to do this on. Okay, let me try to figure out a way to write this statement which makes it more clear. Okay, necessarily की जगह के ऊपर अगर मैंने always लिखा होता तो फिर this is the correct answer. Okay, necessarily की जगह पे if the statement was the difference of two negative integers is not always negative, okay, then this is the statement. Okay, are we on the same page? Yes. Okay, do we all agree कि अगर यहाँ पे necessarily की जगह पे always लिखा होता तो फिर this is what we are looking for. Okay, all right, I'll change this. Mehreen, remember इस slide में हम change कर लेंगे इसको, necessarily को हम कर देंगे always. ठीक है.